Good morning, everybody. Former Wisconsin 75th Assembly District Representative, real estate mogul, friend of the show, and Wisconsin's 25th state senator-elect. I'm not really sure if that's official, to say that now. I don't know how to address you anymore. You're such a big, fancy, big shot.
You can just call me Romaine.
Romaine Quinn is our very special guest today, Wednesday, November 9th, 2022. Romaine, good morning.
Morning.
You must be tired.
You must be tired, because I don't think you went to bed at all.
I didn't, but that's how this whole show, we didn't plan on this. And it was, I don't know, like 1:30, 2 in the morning, and I'm updating things, and I saw something on Facebook, and I sent you a message or something like that, just saying, hey, congratulations, right? And then we started talking about, hey, you should probably come on for a show sometime. And we were talking about some dates in the future, but I had some things filled. I'm like, you know what? How about in like 6 hours from now? So it was an impromptu thing. But yeah. Is it official? Can I say congratulations?
Yeah, I think it's a done deal. From what we've seen, all the precincts are in. And even when we went to bed, there was a few lingering. And what was out there, there just wasn't enough left for us not to win. So yeah, it was a pretty great night. All the work we did over the last really year and a few months came to fruition. We're ecstatic.
Yeah, so I'm looking at the numbers right now on my phone, and 100% reported, 57% to 43%. So I just want to ask you about this, and actually I want to, if it's all right with you, because again, we don't have any script here, but I kind of want to go through maybe some of the other, like north of Wisconsin, and maybe kind of get your takes on some of the other races that are happening. There's supposed to be this red wave, and maybe it kind of didn't. But I look at north of Wisconsin, it was totally a red wave in, that proverbial red wave in north of Wisconsin. So I want to kind of get your takes on that and the governor's race and et cetera. But what is more impactful to you? You won 57 to 43%, or the total votes of, I'm rounding it, 47,000 you had to 35,000 your opponent had. What's more impactful?
Gosh, I just think that wide of a margin, regardless if you're looking at the raw numbers or the percentage totals, are important. Now, in a midterm, you don't have quite the turnout, but our cycles always fall on a midterm, not a presidential year. But I think turnout was pretty darn high. And yeah, both those numbers are important. And both of them far exceeded our expectations. I'll say that.
Well, you're now, I don't know if I want to get into this now, but I just thought of it. I'm tired, so I just say it now, or I'm probably going to forget. You're, before you were in the assembly, right? And by the way, I saw your commercial. It was the first one I saw. I usually don't watch TV a lot, but it was, I think yesterday morning. The TV's on the other room. And I saw a commercial about you, and it was like, and the youngest mayor in Rice Lake. That's all I heard. I'm like, wait, what's going on? So I walked into the other room thinking, like, what just happened in Rice Lake? And it was a commercial for you. And I thought that was a really well-done commercial, by the way. But now you went from the assembly. There's 99 of you in the assembly, and there's a lot of responsibility, certainly. And what do we have? Like, boy, how many people do we have in Wisconsin? 6 million? 8 million? I don't know. Yeah,
it's getting close.
Yeah, I don't even know. So, but there's only 33 senators. Dude, that's a legit, that's a big, I'm just saying, 33 senators, and you're one. Do you feel any different? You woke up after, 2 hours of sleep. Does it hit you yet or is it because I was already down there, I'm now a senator rather than a person in the assembly, but it's the same thing for me. I mean, in terms of like the feeling, it's not like this is the first time you ever won an election and you were a legislator, but Do you feel anything yet?
No, it hasn't set in yet. And I'm still waiting for my staff to call me and say, where are we doing doors today? But
you've been busy. Like you and Chance Green, I have seen, not personally seen, but I see you guys everywhere. I hear about you everywhere. I see you on social media everywhere, as in I'm out everywhere.
Yeah, and that's what it takes. In seats that are very competitive, you have to meet people. And the best place to meet people is at their door. So you can sift through all the negative ads, all the radio ads, all the mailers, even the positive ones, right? You can only write so much on a piece of paper. But the conversations at people's doors, those are what matter. And that's why we focus on that, to be able to make that connection so people have an opportunity to actually meet the person that they're hopefully voting for.
You're still in campaign mode, aren't you? It just sounds like you're in campaign mode. Yeah, you knock on the
That wasn't
doors
a
and hopefully.
scripted answer.
I know. And by the way, is this looking at your sweatshirt? So I always wear sweatshirts, but you've been on before, and these shows are casual chat kind of things, not interviews, just a conversation. But is this this is what we can expect from now? Senator-elect Romaine Quinn is just hoodies.
No, I'm not John Fetterman. I will put a suit on. I was just too tired to get dressed for you today, Ben.
Oh, that's
so
right.
We're still in campaign mode, so it's still my campaign sweatshirt.
Oh, and see, that's just self-promotion, man. That's where it's at.
That's right.
I feel like if you have a logo or something like that on a hoodie, it counts as being professional. That's the way I look at it.
I'll take it.
Yeah, no kidding. So actually, we saw. Hold on a second here. Where was Angie Sapek? You know what? Do you want to get to that right now? Because I do want to talk about this. And by the way, holy cow, look at this dude. Mary, congratulations, a whole bunch. And I don't know if you can see it on your computer, but there should be a button on your computer to the screen that says like comments or chat or something.
Got it.
And there's a little button there. If you click on it, because even though we're broadcasting this live on Facebook, we're not actually on Facebook right now. So this way you can see all those things. Look at all that stuff, dude.
Oh, lots of support.
Right?
Which was reflective in our results. We're beyond happy with the numbers that came in last night. We were not expecting to win that decisively.
All right, so now that it's over, let me ask you, what did you think? Oh, I had my predictions, right? Sure to go wrong, which I actually got out of the 10, 8 of them right as of right now. But the 2 that I didn't were my lowest picks, of course. Then 1 and 2, which is Michael's and the Attorney General, because those kind of go hand in hand.
Yep.
But yours was a tough one for me. Not the toughest, but it was tough. I kind of had to put it in the middle because there was so many factors that went into that. You'd never want to probably say it when you're running for something. But now that it's over, what did you think you were going to win by? 52 for like 4 points, 52-48? Was it, man, if I don't win by at least this? Or is it, I don't even know if I'm going to win? What were your expectations going into this?
At least I was in the middle of your sheet. I'm pretty sure I saw Fitzy's and I was on the bottom. So thanks for the confidence,
Fitzy, I tell you.
I got to give him crap. But I only scored him like 1 point, I think, on his sheet. But yeah, I think we talked maybe earlier on, and with the seat being 50-50, even with the slight map change, we would have been happy with 4 points. 52-48, 6 points would have been awesome. 53.
So you went into this thinking, everyone goes into it thinking they're going to win. Well, actually, that's not true. Let's face it. There are some that just like, no. But no kidding. You were actually, I should be able to win this. I put in the work, my name and all my credibility and everything I've done. I have no reason to think I'm not going to win this. Because, you hear that stuff in a campaign and it's, okay. Like everyone says, like Dick Osman, well, you have Tom Tiffany on once a month. So when I'm elected, you're going to have me on once a month too. I'm like, well, sure. But you understand, like, you're not probably going to win. I told him that. Like, he's a nice guy. I like him. He's a nice person.
Yeah.
But, he says, I'm going to win. Yeah. And it's, but you can't wish yourself to win. Did you really think this whole time, I'm going to win this? It's just a matter of how much.
Not early on, and not during most of the campaign. I think it didn't really set in until the last month-ish when we realized that I think we worked hard enough where I didn't think she could catch up. So I think towards the last month we were confident, cautiously optimistic, just a matter of by how much. And I was hoping it wasn't going to be razor thin because I don't want to hear the rhetoric of, well, it's because of this, or you only won because of that.
What do you mean? Like what?
Where you squeaked by because I don't know an ad or
or
because you didn't do a third debate or something like that. Well, clearly it's pick your poison. We won by almost 14 points, so it really wasn't. It didn't come down to the wire. So yeah, but we didn't know because everyone's like, oh, you've got it in the bag. But I'm trying to remind people the 25th is the largest Senate district in the state. Yeah. It is much more than Barron County. Yep. So the support we have in areas that are traditionally red don't mean nearly as much as they used to in Dave Armstrong's seat.
Yeah.
And so it's a mathematics game. How many voters are in each of these northern counties, and then how do they split? So, but we were happy with the splits. I mean, I think we performed better in Bayfield County and Ashland County than we expected. Even in Douglas County, I think we took 46% of the vote. We knew we weren't going to win.
Wait, hold on. So I didn't get a chance to look at that stuff. Do you have that information?
I've got some of their websites pulled up.
Oh, well,
now that
yeah, I'm just curious. By the way, so I did on, what is it, Wednesday, Monday afternoon, I did a story, put thinking up the 10 races that we're going to be following in my predictions. And by the way, real quick, I want to throw this up. Jesse James, by the way, that dude's legit, right? And I've said every time he comments, I'll say he's legit until I have a reason to think that he isn't.
Mm-hmm.
Congratulations, fellow senator-elect, because he won too, right? I don't think anyone run against him in the general. I don't think so.
He had a real tough general election.
No,
so,
primary election.
I think he took 100% of the vote last night.
Yo, right. Yeah, but first of all, he's a cop. My understanding is he's the only cop that's still a cop and a legislator. Now that may have changed as of last night, and I've talked to him a few times. Jesse is legit, no kidding. So I did these picks and my predictions, and for yours, and that kind of ties in. This was my prediction. I went with, and there's a lot of other stuff to this, but where are you? 25th. And this is what I wrote. Yeah, so C-Analysis has this district as a solid Republican, but I don't share their enthusiasm. Bewley did just barely win the last election. I think it was against Bowling, like 2 or 3 points. Quinn has more name recognition, mostly the good kind, because let's face it, there's some bad name recognition. And he should have no problem winning Barron, Burnett, and Washburn counties. The question is, how well will he do in the northern counties of Ashland, Bayfield, and Douglas? He doesn't need to win those counties to win, but losing by a lot in these could see him losing this race. I think this will be closer than some are thinking, but I do see Quinn winning this race. If he does, it'll be the first time a Republican has held this seat in 36 years. So I was off on one. I thought it was going to be closer. That C-Analysis rating was spot on, solid Republican. You won by, what did you say, 14 points?
Right.
They were right. I thought it was going to be closer, to be honest.
If you look, actually, it really, for everyone else on the ticket, it was closer. We, except in, I think, 2 counties, outperformed everyone else on the ballot. And so it is a little bluer than 14 points for sure. I just think it was a good year, and I think we worked the hardest. So I got to banter back and forth with Congressman Tiffany a little bit. He beat me in Burnett County by a little bit, but I beat him.
Wait a minute now. He's going to be on for his monthly show tomorrow morning. So I want to make sure I write these notes down.
I'm going to get you the list. I beat him in Douglas. I beat him in Ashland. I beat him in Bayfield. But he beat me in Price and Burnett.
Ashland and Bayfield. Interesting.
So I got to get comments.
The acronym there would be BAD. Bayfield, Ashland, Douglas. Anyway, so you beat him or he beat you? What was it again?
In those 3, we got more votes than Tom.
Now that's something you can brag about, because those are typically blue districts.
Yeah.
Right? Or counties, I mean.
Yeah, big time.
But he beat you where?
In Burnett, he squeaked out a win.
Well, isn't that for the 25th with your party's gerrymandering? Isn't that new for the 25th in terms of like the whole county?
Having all of Burnett County is new.
I think before it was just like a little portion, just like a township or something.
Yep.
So that's kind of understandable, right? That's your argument to Tom. Is that
I'll justify it somehow.
Yeah, right. Yeah. Did you bet a steak dinner on it? And by the way, don't ever bet a steak dinner on something with Adam Jarkow, because when he and his wife and Jerusha and I went out for dinner, we went to the 5 o'clock club in Cumberland, so I could honor my bet that I had from something from months ago.
Good choice.
He's ordering $80 lollipop steak, which I didn't even know what that was, but couldn't find out it's expensive. So this huge bill, like, oh, you jerk. So no, I'll never bet a steak dinner with Adam Jarkow ever again.
That's awesome.
Yeah, it is. But are you seeing these comments, dude? No, you're not?
Yep.
Not on the screen, but I mean, oh, Mike Schaefer. Oh boy, I think we have like a sound for him we're supposed to play.
Oh yeah, his ding sound.
No,
Whatever that is.
that's Dingy. I mean Dave Wilson.
Dave Wilson.
Uh, there we go. That's the one for Mike. And see, and there's Dave.
There's
There you
Dave.
go.
Get him.
Yeah, there you go. So, you've won, and I want to get back to that about your race and what's next for you, etc. But first, let's look at some of the other races. So, obviously, there's every Senate race, every Senate district is also made up of 3 assembly districts. Yours is the 73rd, 74th, 75th. 75th is your former district, and that, of course, is Dave Armstrong, who's just killing it. He didn't have an opponent. But 73rd and 74th were both held by Republicans and for a long time. Yours was first time in 36 years for your Senate race, but I'm pretty sure I saw something. Well, of course I did. I posted it last night. Chance Green sent it like at, I don't know, 1 or 2 in the morning, so we posted it. 35 years for the 74th. Yeah. I didn't know that.
Yep. I think the 73rd is pretty similar too.
Well, Milway's been there for this will be 14 years, and I don't know who was in before.
Yep, it's been a long time.
So, I mean, this is huge, right? I mean, or am I wrong? I'm looking at this going, and your seat, of course, was held by Democrats, and, of course, Janet Bewley for a number of years. The 70...
And Bob Jelk.
Yep, 73rd and 74th were held by Democrats forever. And, of course, you had the 75th at the time. That all just flipped. You are now, I mean, this is like, you're walking into this with 3 Republicans in your district.
Right.
That has to make it easier. And if so, what does that mean?
Yeah, no, it really is a historic shift. And you can say it's the candidates or the wavy or whatever, regardless, the outcome really is historic because it's been a generation since any Republican's been elected on the ballot that's even really been close enough to be competitive. So it's a shift big time. But no, I look forward to it because to have partners to work with is exciting. So remember when I was in the 75th Assembly District, it was Senator Bewley and I would look at my colleagues in the southern part of the state who all had state senators that could actually accomplish stuff. And they could just go right to them when they wrote a bill because they shared communities. The bills probably affected each other's districts the same. So it just made sense.
Oh, right, yeah.
And for various reasons, I just didn't have that relationship with Senator Bewley. So this is going to be a game changer even for me because I literally have 3 counterparts in the assembly that I can go to and say, here's this bill that benefits northern Wisconsin, benefits both of our districts. Now, please help me run it through the House because I'm going to run it through on my side. And so, because remember when we did the cable bill, the TIF bill for cable so they could redevelop telemark?
Yep.
I had to go to Jerry Petrowski to do that bill. And Jerry doesn't live or represent cable, so why would he care? So my job was always to find a state senator from another part of the state that liked me enough that was willing to pull my weight in that House. And so now I don't have to do that because I can say, hey, the Expo District bill, Angie Sappick, will you run this in the assembly? Or we have something for Park Falls or Ashland, Chance Green. I need you to do something for that. And they're in the majority party, so it's much more likely we can get something done. And we'll have that relationship. So it's going to be a game changer even for how we do our job in the state Senate, having those counterparts in there.
I haven't looked, but I don't think, last time I checked, I haven't looked recently, is in the last couple hours, but last time I checked, with Evers winning, and we'll get to that in a minute, but I don't think there was a supermajority in as of now, right? Is that like an official thing now that there is no supermajority?
I believe the assembly fell short. We have one in the state Senate. Our win was a supermajority in the state Senate. I believe Rob Hutton pulled it off, excuse me, in the southern part of the state. But the assembly fell maybe a couple seats short, I think.
All right. Now with the supermajority, and we talked about this with Shannon Zimmerman, who also won in the race against Sarah Yakub last night. We talked about that on the show when he was on last week about what does that mean in terms of if Michaels wins, all right, supermajority isn't as important. But if Evers wins, supermajority in terms of a Republican point of view, much more important. But neither of those things happened. Michaels didn't win in a supermajority in both houses because it has to be both, right, for the supermajority. It can't just be one or the other. It has to be both for veto-proof stuff. So
Right.
now those happen. Are we looking at another 2 years of what we just went through for the last 2 years? Of 140, well, that wasn't just in 2 years. Governor Evers has vetoed 146 bills. I'm not knocking on the dude. I'm just saying it's a record for Wisconsin.
Yep.
A lot of Republicans, obviously both houses are Republicans, so they're pushing a lot of things. He didn't like them, so he says, whatever. And you can have your own opinion on that if you think you should or shouldn't.
Yep.
But are we looking at basically another just 2 years? Like all this money, all this time, all this energy and effort, and it's just another 2 years of we're trying to do this, and he says no. I mean, not on everything, but you know what I mean.
Right. If I had to bet, I think you're going to see a lot of that, unless there's some substantive change. I think both sides can go back to Madison and say we should probably work together on the things we all agree on. So whatever those issues may be. But yeah, I don't see a lot changing. If Governor Evers has not even spoken with Speaker Voss or Majority Leader Devin LeMahieu in over a year, and they're coming back with strong majorities, even larger majorities in the last session, I don't know what changes. I hope people choose to conduct themselves differently and try to be more productive.
Yeah. Well, we have a question here from Dave Wilson. Senator, oh, look at that. That's a you can tell that's a chief of police. Senator, you're referring to you that way. Do these projected results lock in we already talked about that. Veto majority, and what do you anticipate the working relationship will look like with the governor's office? All right. Well, sorry, Dave. I just now saw your question, but I think we kind of just touched on that, right? But how about that? When you get down there, now you've been there before, but now it's in a different thing, and I don't know how much different that is for you. Maybe,
Yep.
Whatever. But you kind of feel like, all right, it's only been a couple of years since I was there. I feel like I should kind of hit the ground running. So what would you do? What is your goal? Can you actually say right now, live on DrydenWire, I'm going to make sure I tell everyone in every caucus and everything, and the LeMahieu's and the Vosses, which I don't know how much you talk to him and now that you're in the Senate, but we need to have discussions with the governor. Are you?
Yeah.
Can you do that? Or is it like, no kidding, we have to get this done? Or is it, shut up, dude. We know what we're doing.
Yeah. No, I mean, to tell you, I haven't been down there. I don't know how the Senate caucus operates as much as the Assembly does. But I hope there is more dialogue. And I don't know. I mean, people can point both sides. Legislative leaders will keep blocking Governor Evers. Why would he want to talk to them? But the flip side, it's if Governor Evers refuses to meet with the legislature, it's kind of hard to have a conversation too. I know when I left office, he was like sending staff to meetings. I think it's like, we don't want to negotiate with staff. You're the governor of the state. You're the executive. It's your call. Like, you should be in the room, not your staff.
Yeah.
So I don't know if that's changed. But we didn't win a veto-proof majority. So you could argue, I don't know, they're going to claim that people didn't want that one-party control. I get that. But at the same time, it's not like Evers had a super decisive win either. So I think it just shows that Wisconsin really is a purple state, not geographically, but in totals, we really are still a purple state at this point.
Yeah. What surprised you more? See, Governor Evers won 51-48. Did that surprise you more, or I'm just going to pick something else? Attorney General, what those kind of go, hand in hand, right? I mean, that's why they usually do polling on Attorney General's races. If the Democrat governor wins, then typically but at the same time, which would you, if you had to pick one, and this is totally going to get you in trouble, and someone's going to use this against you in the next campaign.
Perfect.
If you had to pick one that you would prefer, would that be Tony Evers winning or Josh Call winning? As in, would you rather have Eric Toney beat Josh Call or Tim Michaels beat Tony Evers? If you had to pick one.
That's really a meaty question. They both those positions are uniquely important for various reasons.
Yeah.
I think people underestimate the power of the Attorney General.
Amen, brother.
Or what the Attorney General could do if he actually exercised the full authority of that office.
Did his job right.
Yeah. So just from the administrative state, I mean, when the DNR, other departments step outside their bounds, and I don't believe they're following state statute, we would go to the Attorney General and say, please issue an opinion to clarify what state statute says. So these departments have to actually follow the law. And that alone, controlling the administrative state, I think people underestimate the impactfulness of that. And if you don't have an attorney general willing to play that role, I think we're going to have problems.
Yeah.
And I think just morale for police. I think there's a bigger issue at play. We can't find enough recruits to fill our state patrol positions, our local department positions, even our county positions. Some of them that pay well are struggling to find guys. And I don't think if you don't have someone at the top of that profession standing up for that profession at all given times, it hurts morale and it hurts recruitment and retention no matter how much you pay people.
Yeah.
And so I think for the safety of the public, the legislature can hold Evers accountable. But for the safety of the public and the morale of our men and women in uniform, I think the top cop position really should take precedent at this point. And I hope Eric pulls it off. I haven't seen the latest numbers.
Yeah, he lost. So the whole thing was weird, right? This is part of the reason that I was up all night is like looking at all this stuff. So he was actually winning like with, I don't know, like 96% of the precincts in or something. He was up 51-49. He kind of made this like little comeback thing. And I don't know where they're pulling some of these things from, but in terms of like where the ballots are coming from or if they're write-in things. And then by 98%, then it was like tied. And then he ended up conceding the race.
Oh, he did.
He did. And then it was weird because then it was like, well, hold on. Now, he didn't say that, but others are saying, did he win or not? Actually, looking at this, we'll see if the media, you can always trust them. We'll see if they've called the race. They have not, it doesn't look like there's no, they have not officially called that race. And Josh Call is at 51%, Eric Toney 49%, but it looks like the difference is 35,000 votes.
Ooh, yeah, that's tough to make up.
Yeah, the Attorney General and the Ron Johnson in the Senate. Those are the two that are officially not, called yet.
Yep, I think Ron Johnson's actually declaring victory at 10 a.m. today.
Yeah, he's already, he's...
Sure.
Yeah, right, no, that's over. We'll see what Mandela Barnes said. Let me go through a couple of these things from our area. So Northwest Wisconsin. So if anyone's listening, it's Northwest Wisconsin. This is just Northwest Wisconsin now. There's 3 Senate districts. The 10th, which would be Rob Staffsholt, but of course he's not. This is an election cycle for him. And in those 3, one is in our DrydenWire coverage area, and that would be, 2 of them, Burnett and, no, that'd be just Gay, actually, in Polk County, the 28th. She won convincingly, right?
We knew that.
Yeah, we kind of assume that. 62 to 38.
People don't realize Gay, is very quiet and pleasant to be around, but they don't realize she's a workhorse on the campaign trail. She does doors like anybody else. So even if she was in a swing seat, Gay would win because she works her butt off.
You know what I like the most about her? Well, first of all, she's a sweetheart. And by the way, I do like Patty too. No kidding. I just do. She's great. That campaign, it didn't get ugly. Not like the 73rd, and we'll get to that one in a minute.
Well, it didn't get ugly because Patty had no money to spend.
Could be.
She did her best on her own.
What I mean is ugly is in both sides. That's how I would define an ugly, is both sides.
That's fair.
Patty did, and I don't blame her for that. There's campaign mode. Right? Remember, like Shannon, Zimmerman, and Adam went after each other through that special election race, and man, that's politics, dude. It is what it is. Put on your big boy pants, and that's just how it goes, and it's just politics. So I have no problem with Patty saying things on her Patty for WI, her Facebook page, and going after Gay. Sure. If that's what she wants to do, that's perfectly fine. But what I do respect about, not that I don't respect Patty for that, but I respect that Gay left it alone.
Right.
I don't know why, but I kind of like that.
And if Gay, it was probably hard for her to bite her tongue, but she kept her head down and just ran the race. Yeah.
So Shannon, by the way, won. Clint Moses won. So in the 10th, so that's western Wisconsin and part of northwest Wisconsin. So there is a Republican senator in that 10th district. All 3 Republican assembly districts are Republicans. Then we move to we'll go to the other side. We'll go to the eastern side, 29th. Yeah, 29th. I don't know how you say his last name, dude. Like Tomzak?
Oh, Corey Tomczyk.
Tomczyk.
Yep, he'll be a brand new senator with
Yeah,
me.
so Petrowski I knew, but he won by a lot as well. That was
That was a safe seat.
yeah, I think so. But that represents part of Rusk. That's Rusk, all of Rusk, I think, and most of Sawyer. I think you have like a tiny bit of Sawyer there.
That's correct.
So that's another Republican that won that. And so Rusk and Sawyer, and then also then the Assembly. What's in the Assembly over there? I think the only one for our 6 counties would be Jimmy Boy.
Yep.
In the 87th, which is and he won, of course. I mean, that dude could just,
Yeah, Jimmy Boy's an animal. He campaigns hard. He's starting to get up there in age. Love him to death.
It doesn't stop, man.
He still gives her. He'll call me. Are you doing Stone Lake parades today? I'm like, Jimmy Boy, you only have part of it. Why are you going to Stone Lake? Oh, I love parades, he says, and he'll go to them all. So
that's all finished, and now we bring in the middle section, right? Of and that's you. That's the 25th Senate, and now all 3. That means, shoot, man, you'd have to go pretty far in North Wisconsin to find an Assembly or a Senate race that is not Republican held.
So there's not one, I believe, not one elected Democrat left, state legislative wise, in the 7th congressional district.
Tom's different. What?
I think Tom Tiffany got his goal. He wanted to red map his seat, and I think he did it.
Holy cow!
Yep. And just think of that sea change. 15 years ago, the Dave Obey machine had everything the other way.
Right. Before Duffy came in with the 7th, and yeah.
In literally 10, 15 years, the entire 7th congressional district has flipped and done a complete 180.
That's weird to think about.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean, so
not very long ago.
Right. So what I'm hearing is, especially for Northwest Wisconsin, I never, ever, ever, ever want to hear again, because you've talked about it, I've talked about it, every person we've had on, especially like Rebecca Clayfish when she was on. By the way, I think she would have actually been able to beat Evers. So way to go, Republicans! If you really wanted a Republican, just saying.
No comment.
You kind of blew that one. But I don't want to hear any more of we're not getting any love up here in Northwest Wisconsin. Oh, people down in Madison, Milwaukee, they don't care about us up here. Dude, we have. Everyone should be on the same page. And I'm not saying like Democrats didn't. I'm saying I don't care if it was all Democrats in Northwest Wisconsin. Right now, it's all Republican, but you're all on the same page. Get us some love, man.
Well, and that's the problem. I mean, that's the issue and the message we ran on, right? But even with total Republican representation, it's going to be a battle. It always is. Because you have to remember, like if you draw a line across the northern third of the state, I think there's now Senator Tomczyk, Senator Felskowski, myself, and Rob Staffschulte, Senator Staffschulte. There are still more senators in Milwaukee County than there are in the northern third of the state. And just because...
In the county?
That represent Milwaukee County, right. Now we've beaten Democrats down to very few seats, but the point is, even in the Republican caucus, they're not all rural. A majority of them, a vast majority, are not rural. So the goal is, the few of us that are down there, is to teach them about broadband access. Is to teach them about the struggles of rural areas, the rising cost of propane, the lack of affordable housing, those kinds of things, right? And it's making sure the programs that already exist actually work in our area. And that is regardless whether it's Democrat or Republican control. So that fight, the lack of attention, the forgottenness north of 8, that stuff doesn't change on January 3rd. We just now have a more voices at the table to say, time out.
Sure.
We still matter.
Yeah. So Mike, where is he? Had a question, but before I get to that, Luke said, I think this is when I was referring to Rebecca Clayfish, maybe she could have backed Michaels and helped him out. Yeah, I don't know. That's like asking Adam Jarkow to like endorse Eric Toney. I don't know. Like if I'm all right, so usually I say inappropriate things, and Fitzy does on our Ben and Fitzy shows. So we're just kind of bringing that into this show all of a sudden. That'd be like if I'm courting Jerusha, now my wife, but courting her, and another guy was courting her, and she picks him, and then says, hey, by the way, you want to come over for dinner and, really kind of pump me up a little bit for it. I'm like, what, are you freaking kidding me? No, pound sand, dude. Get out of here. I never want to talk to you or see you ever again because I'm still a little, hurt about that. So I get what he's saying, and that probably would have been, but come on, there's still people too. I wouldn't. I don't know.
Yeah, it's hard to say. I think that race got pretty ugly down in the southeastern part of the state, to the point where they were using pictures of the Clayfish's kids and ads, things like that. So
That's right. Yeah. I had a bold prediction anyway, and I had a bold prediction about that anyway. If Michaels won, he would not finish his term. He would resign, do an ethical violation, and Ron would end up being our governor. No kidding. That's not a joke. I actually okay, this is a bold prediction like this. I could see it possibly randomly happening, maybe. So whatever. Anyway, here's Mike Schaefer. Oh, that's really small on the screen. He's talking about the Trump effect negatively impacted the Republicans. Trump-backed candidates, underperforming candidates not backed by him in many states, Georgia, Pennsylvania, New Hampshire, and Ohio, for example. Do you feel that this is, that this is real? And if so, how will it affect 2024? So we're talking about the Trump effect. I think, okay, I'll answer that for you. I'll answer that for you. I think Trump effect works in primaries, but not general elections. Go ahead. What are your thoughts?
I think it depends on your state and what area you're in. I think in rural areas, Trump helps. I think in suburban areas, he might not help as much, right? I mean, and the problem is, even talking about this, someone's going to say, oh, you don't like him, or, oh, you're a Trump backer and you want to end democracy, right? So no matter what you say about the guy, it's so polarizing and it's just unfortunate. So I heard he's going to announce next week and a half. I'm glad he waited until after the midterms so we could get through this cycle before the next one starts. I think people are exhausted. But no doubt about it, our country needs change. The trajectory we're on, it doesn't matter what you look at. If you have a 401k, you put gas in your car, you buy groceries, it's not good. Yeah. And whether you think he's the answer or not, you're going to have another option, another year and a half to 2 years. So
because you're not a first-time elected legislator, you're in a different house now or a different chamber now, but this isn't, your first rodeo.
Yep.
So this isn't like, all right, as soon as I get there, first 100 days, I'm going to get this done, or this is what I'm going to... But knowing what you know, what is your focus when you get there? Obviously, first, learning about the Senate, and because Senate has different rules and different procedures, et cetera, I'm sure, than the Assembly does. But other than that, what do you want to get accomplished?
Well, there's a number of steps first, right? First, we assemble a staff. Got to put together a strong office. Staff make the world a difference. Then you move forward to what committees we want to be on. I've got a list of them now, the vacancies, the senators that are leaving, if there's any adjustments to any other standing committees, and we'll make a pitch on why we want to be on some of those. I have a lot of interest in quite a few, putting ourselves in a position to be effective. The committee process is a lot more impactful in the state Senate, because state senators have been given a lot more leeway to kill bills in their own committee, I think, versus the Assembly, where the speaker could move bills and make sure they get through in the right committee. And so I think there's a lot more autonomy over committee chairs in the Senate, making those positions that much more powerful and making it that much more important to have relationships with all of your colleagues. So that's the biggest thing, right, is getting down there. I know many of them came up and helped me knock on doors. It's building those relationships, because those people are going to be key to whether or not we are successful. It truly is a team effort. So that's important. And then, we dive right in. The start of this session, we're going to be starting budget time.
Yeah, can we get that moved to like the second year?
Yeah,
I don't understand that, dude. Like your first year, like if you're just first elected, like Chance Green, right, and Angie Sapek, and it's like, okay, I'm trying to figure out like where the bathroom is and where my office is. Do I even have an office? Oh, and by the way, do the whole budget for the state real quick. What?
Yeah, I feel bad for any freshman legislator, because it's drinking out of a fire hose. But again, that's where staff are super important. But we'll make sure, like I said, we're coordinating with Angie's office. We're coordinating with Chan's office. Dave's already been in there now, and really sitting down and creating that united front for Northwestern Wisconsin to make sure there's budget priorities for all of us,
Yeah.
especially up here.
Hey, speaking of Patty, she just has a comment. Got to love your local self-serving career politician. I think she's referring to you there, buddy. Will you serve all Wisconsin? Yeah. Will you serve all Wisconsinites or just those who voted for you? That's a legitimate question. The first part, we could have done without that part, Patty, but that's a legitimate question.
Yeah, no, we're supposed to serve all of our constituents, and I have before in the past, and I plan on doing that again. Again, they're just pointing out once again, it's unfortunate that Patty has become that bitter. She used to be friends with Adam. It was a great show when they were on together, and somehow she just fell off the wagon, and she's not nice to people anymore. It's unfortunate, but fast forward, yes. It's up to all of us to serve all of our constituents and do the best job we possibly can. And that's what I've always promised. I will do whatever I can to be the most effective I can for Northwestern Wisconsin. Yeah. And not only for the 75th, but now the 25th. That's why if you look at the numbers across the seat, we outperformed everyone on the top of the ticket because I get a lot of Democrats that vote for me. And I take that personally. And it's very important to me. I understand that a lot of people split their ballot and picked me. And I keep that with me. And that's why we try to focus on the rural issues that matter to everyone. Rural EMS, rural broadband access, the infrastructure problems we have. And that's where I focus my time, and that's where in the past, and I will again as your next state senator.
Is my next state? Oh, I see. You're still on campaign mode, and that's what I'm going to. I'm sorry. We have a question here from Dave. Who makes a decision on committee assignments, the speaker or the newly selected committee chairs?
That's a good question. There's no speaker in the Senate. It's the Senate president and the Senate majority leader. And no, and shout out to Dave. So Dave is from the northern tip of Wisconsin, up in LaPointe.
Yeah,
and he took me up there for a weekend, and I got to meet his mother and some of her neighbors. It was great, and I thought watching the results come in, I flipped his mom, longtime Democrat for 40 years. Yvette was voting for me, and some others up there. So I'm like, let's see how we do. We got crushed in LaPointe. So it's okay. I appreciate the efforts. I appreciate meeting Yvette and her neighbor. Her name escapes me now. I haven't slept at all, but she's like 94 years old, still lives in her own home. And again, those are the kind of stories, right? So you have that perfect example of a 94-year-old lady, lives on Lake Superior, loves her home. That's where her friends are. And as she ages out of her home, there is no availability of assisted living for her to still live in the LaPointe area to be around her friends. She's going to wind up in Wausau or Eau Claire or Rice Lake where nobody knows her. To stay in her home, there's no personal care workers right now that can go in and help her, maybe do laundry twice a week or pick the house up to allow her to live even longer in her home, right? To stay in those areas longer. And so those are the kinds of issues that matter day to day to people that we have to address and that we can address if we have the right people in the room.
All right, so I just quickly wrote down because we're already at about our time here. You had, I don't know. I really wasn't paying attention to anything you said. I was thinking and writing things down. I'm kidding. I was listening to what you're saying, but it made me realize about the things that matter to people, like in this situation up there with her death tax stuff. Are you familiar with the death tax? And is that, I don't know if that's a federal or a state thing, but seriously, it's ridiculous. Like my parents are like, well, we can't even sell our house because we'd lose everything. Or no, if they went to a home, then they would take all the money. And it's really bizarre how that works. I don't know if you're familiar with it. And if not, study up on that because the next time you're on, we're talking about this death tax thing because that's a thing, man.
Yeah, estate planning is super important. I tell people this all the time, especially when I have clients in real estate that are older and stuff.
Oh, right.
Maybe look at putting your home in a trust, things like that, to try to protect yourself. Again, not to get out of using your assets to pay for your health care, because if you don't, the state picks it up if you do have assets. But being able to pass on what you have earned over the course of your life without being taxed on it again. I think that's always been absurd. You paid tax on your wealth multiple times over. Right. And then when you go to pass it on to your kids, you're expected to pay on it again. It's like, what?
It doesn't make any sense. 73rd, I forgot. I wanted to touch on that, and I forgot to bring that up earlier. Angie Sapik and Laura Gapsky, that race was we'll say a competitive race. But that one was kind of that as I referred to at the very beginning of the show, ugly. Ugly is in both sides, and I don't care about who started, who finished, or whatever. Point is, it got to be a very aggressive campaign.
Yep.
Did you field a lot of questions? What's that?
It was brutal up there.
Yeah, I was trying to like put it, not a. It was aggressive. It was very competitive.
Yeah. Good word choice.
Were you at all concerned, as a Republican, of course, therefore you would want a Republican to win, in this case, Angie Sappick. At any point in this, were you going, right, Angie, you got to pull it back. You got to settle down because you could lose. Were you ever concerned?
No. I mean, both campaigns did what they felt they had to do to win.
Yeah, and I can respect that.
And at the end of the day, I mean, I think the last 3 weeks they spent $300,000 against her on TV.
Who against who? You say her, but there's two hers. So which one?
Against Angie. Sorry.
Oh, okay.
Yep. And I know they beat the crap out of her, right? So it was, everyone takes something out of context and they run with it, right, and make it an issue. That's politics of the day. But yeah, I'm very happy for her campaign, herself, her family. And her campaign team worked very hard, and they squeaked it out. So they definitely earned it. And that was a tough seat.
Yeah, no kidding. That was on my my predictions list. That was my least confident. In our Northwest Wisconsin, Northwest Wisconsin, my least confident because I'm like I don't know. I if you asked me like 2 months ago, I would have said Angie probably would win this. And but over the last 2 months, it's. Yep. Actually, what did she win by? Do you know? Hold on. Here it is. 73rd. The 73rd district was 5149. So that was 13,260, 1270. So that's 250, about 500. So yeah, 500 in that one. And what?
That wasn't a Keith Kern race.
Keith Kern was a 139. He lost by 139 against Milroy. So
yep.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, I kind of get it. Raquel, baby updates.
It's still in her belly.
Oh, thank the Lord Jesus.
Thankfully.
When is due date? So you
after deer season.
Yeah, and I'm sure everybody already knows, but you left after being in the assembly to start a family. You've been in politics since basically shortly after graduation. Mayor at 19, and
Patty just said that.
What's that? Oh yeah, that's right. You've been a career politician, your whole life, which means you have experience. But whatever. So you've you did that, and it's I think maybe there's like this itch, like after like 12 or 10 years, not in the legislature, but I mean just in terms of like being a mayor and etc. and college and politics. I need to take a break from all this stuff, and maybe forever. You had a seat that was a slam dunk win. It was a guaranteed win. As long as you don't shack up with the nanny, you're going to win that race. I don't know if you have a nanny. I'm just saying.
We don't.
You have a guaranteed win as long as you just keep doing what you were doing.
I wouldn't do that. Let me clarify that.
What's that?
And if we did have a nanny, I wouldn't do that.
Okay. All right. So
make sure we didn't leave that open ended for my haters.
Yeah, that's going to be a 2-second clip on YouTube of a campaign against you next election. Yep. But that was a guaranteed win, essentially. I mean, that's how we would look at it, not you as a politician, but all of us would go, yeah, duh. It doesn't matter who's running against him. Romaine's going to win the 75th, no problem. But you left that, started a family, also kind of went into the, your own career step. Like, I need to do a real job. So you tried some things, you had a child, then now you're having another child, and now you're getting back into it. Do you regret leaving? Or looking at it, because I remember talking to you, because you announced that you weren't running again on our live show with us. It was so bizarre. I'm like, what's going on right now? And I asked you, is this like, are you lining up for something? And it's, no. And then I talked to you afterwards, like, okay, cameras aren't on. Are you? Right. No, I want to start a family. I just do, and I can't do that. Well,
yeah, it was it was a nice break. I think towards the end of my stint in the assembly, I think my patience meter was shrinking, and you never want that when you serve the public. So it was a nice break from serving. Enjoyed my time outside of the legislature very much, but I refuse to sit back and not do something about things I feel like I can do something about. And I'm not saying I'm perfect. I'm not saying there's other people that can't do it, but I'm not going to watch things go down the toilet and not do something if I have an opportunity to do something. And so that's why we're here.
When you say your patience was shrinking towards people, constituents, or who do you mean? What your patience was wearing thin, essentially? To whom?
I like anyone, the process does get long over time. The the overnights, the time away. The Senate will have more flexibility than the state assembly in terms of certain in-person meetings. And like any of that. I mean, I give anyone credit that runs, period. All the candidates that did not succeed last night, thank you for running.
No kidding. That's legit. No kidding. Including Patty.
Right.
Not kidding. And that's not a joke or sarcasm. Holy cow, you put yourself out there. And it's a lot of work. And some people put in more than others, and that's fine. You do you.
Yeah.
That's like everyone that rips on politicians or candidates. I would love it that they all just ran once themselves. Because you would never say that again. It's like this president thing that you see like these old presidents like George Bush and Obama, and they're together and they're kind of laughing, and everyone's like, "How dare you? You guys are getting along." Man, that's an exclusive club.
There's still people.
They're just human beings, dude.
Right. Yep.
Totally. Next 2 months, you won. Well, unofficially, you've won. I think we have to say unofficially. When does that get? What is it called? Ratified or official?
We get sworn in January.
So you're referred to now as what? Senator-elect or unofficial senator-elect? Like, how do I refer to you?
They have to certify the election yet. But with the numbers that came in, we know it's over.
All right.
So, yep. So now we just wait.
So you also do real estate, so you're just going to put everything on the market for like half off, so everyone should go to Real Estate Solutions and, check all this, because I'm like, dude, in 2 months. Are you going to keep doing Real Estate Solutions?
Yes.
Or I mean, yeah.
I won't be able to be nearly as busy as I used to be, because obviously my priority is in the state legislature, but I will still maintain my real estate license.
And you'll still come on DrydenWire. You're not too big for DrydenWire, are you?
I'll be back if you let me.
Of course, anytime. I should have Chance Green on. I felt so badly because I didn't have he or the who's the other guy? John something, I think, his opponent.
John Adams. Yep.
Yeah. I didn't have. I just we ran out of time. We only have so many dates that we can do these things. But Chance, I tell you what, man, that dude. Look, you just look at his face when he smiles. It's like, ah, he seems like a nice guy. I don't know. Something about him. It just makes me smile. Like I feel nice just looking at him.
Even if you didn't agree, you didn't think like you hated him, right?
Right.
You're just a nice guy.
Yeah. I should run for office. I have well, I'm told I have a very punchable face, so I don't think that'd be good for,
Who told you that?
I don't know, idiots. Yeah. How about that? Last one. Ask me a question. You're an interviewer. You're media. I'm a candidate. Ask me like the one question that is, the toughest one or any topical thing. Ask me a question about my opinion about something. I'll see if I can answer it. And that will tell me if I'm capable of running for something.
Oh, let's see. What are your views on managed forest law and should they be changed?
What are you? What are your opinions? No comment.
I'm
pass. Hard pass.
You wouldn't know.
Next. I don't know. No, I'm sorry. What was that question again? Actually,
no.
And you're such a jerk. I thought you were going to do something like, "What's your opinion of abortion?"
Yeah, that's the two. That's
which is another big one. But what was your? What is it?
Managed forest law. You know how we give
what
tax
actually
breaks
is that?
to private landowners
No.
who have forest land, but it's an effort to get them to open it up to the public and then get forest crop off for our forestry industry. I tried to pick something you didn't have any idea about. So.
Anything outside, then I don't.
Yeah.
What a jerk. Romaine, thanks so much, man. I'm so glad that we did this random message at 2:00 this morning when we're both up.
I didn't run this by my
up.
staff first. They're probably like, you did a show. You didn't even tell us you're on the show right now. They're probably still sleeping.
Well, yeah, here's the thing. Like, your staff would be your campaign staff. You already won. So suck it, campaign staff.
That's true.
I already won. All right, man. Thanks so much. Is there anything you wanted to say to anyone or any last words?
Yeah, no, I just
no.
I appreciate the support. If it wasn't for my friends, my family, my core supporters that have been with me for forever, and then all the people that I've been able to meet over the course of the campaign, I mean, my success is because of a team effort. It wasn't just me. There's a lot of people I have to thank, and they know who they are. I can't even get through the list. There's so many.
And Raquel, certainly. Good Lord.
Yep. She's a saint.
Yeah, she is. That's my tribute to you. All right, man. Hey, thanks so much. I don't have any exit script written or anything. No music at all. So we're just
have a great day.
All right. Thanks, man. We'll talk to you soon.
You bet.
Yep. Bye.